Okay, so you guys sent us this super interesting stuff about these verses in the Bible,
Uh-huh.
Psalm 91.1 and Ecclesiastes 9.11,
Yeah.
and how they might connect to, well, 9/11,
Right.
the attacks.
Yeah. I mean, I see where they're coming from with that.
Yeah, so we're going to look at this whole like protection angle
Right.
and just like what role chance plays
Exactly.
in all of this.
Uh-huh.
So let's just dive in. I mean, what jumps out right away is how your source points out
Yeah.
that 9/11 is both the chapter and verse number.
Yeah, that is pretty wild.
Right.
Wait, both of these verses.
Like in Psalm 91.1 and then again in Ecclesiastes 9.1.
Yeah. And they seem to think that this like numerical thing could be really significant, you know?
Especially with 9/11.
Right, exactly.
It's hard not to see that.
Like, it's not just random, they're saying.
But-
So they seem to have this strong belief that Psalm 91,
Yeah.
which a lot of people see as about, like, finding safety in God.
It really speaks to us today, you know?
Yeah, I
Like-
get that.
In our time now,
Yeah,
they frame it as this prayer for protection.
right.
And like we don't need to be constantly afraid, even with all the crazy stuff happening.
Yeah.
So,
So then you have Ecclesiastes 9.11.
yeah.
King Solomon is talking about how unpredictable life is.
Yeah.
You know, he points out that the fastest runner doesn't always win the race.
Right.
The strongest doesn't always win the battle. Riches favor. It's like they don't always go to the most deserving.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like skill and strength don't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
He says time and chance happen to them all.
Yeah.
Like he's really hitting that unpredictability thing hard.
Yeah, like that chance element.
Uh-huh. And it's interesting what your source does with that.
Yeah, building on that whole unpredictability thing.
Right.
They separate people into two groups.
Yeah.
The sons of men
Okay.
and the sons and daughters of God.
Yeah.
So basically those who believe and those who don't.
Right.
And they say the sons of men can get like caught off guard
Yeah.
by bad times.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
They compare it to fish getting caught in a net
Oh, wow.
or a bird in a snare.
That's a pretty vivid image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they say if you're a son or daughter of God,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're blessed
Uh,
with being in the right place at the right time
interesting.
because of your faith.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're suggesting that while the world is subject to,
Right.
this time and chance that Solomon's talking about,
Huh.
believers, they get this assurance.
Right.
The source concludes by saying, you can expect him to protect and deliver you from every snare of the enemy.
Okay. So they're saying there's something more than just luck here.
Yeah, for
It's
months.
like this active protection thing
Right.
that comes with faith.
Exactly. And it's important to remember this is just their interpretation
Yeah.
from the stuff you sent.
Right. This is how they're seeing it.
Right. Yeah, they're linking these verses
Yeah.
in 9/11 through this lens of faith and protection.
Right.
They see faith as a way to deal with or even like rise above
Yeah.
the randomness that Ecclesiastes talks about.
It's a way to make sense of things.
Yeah.
In a world that can feel chaotic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the source links the number 9/11
Uh-huh.
in these Bible verses
Right.
to the actual 9/11 attacks.
Yeah.
And they see Psalm 91 as this promise of safety for believers.
Yeah. Particularly when you put it next to the time and chance stuff
Right.
in Ecclesiastes.
Which they seem to apply more broadly, to everyone.
Not just those who believe.
Yeah. So they're dealing with some pretty big questions here
Yeah, for sure.
about destiny,
Right.
randomness,
Yeah.
and how faith plays into all of that.
Especially in a world with so much uncertainty
Right.
and danger.
Exactly.
They're trying to find meaning and security in Scripture
Yeah.
when faced with these big, scary events.
Makes sense.
So this leads us to a final thought for you.
How do these ideas about fate and chance and faith, like how they're presented in your source,
Yeah.
how do they resonate with you? Like, how do you see these things playing out
Yeah.
in the world
Right.
and in what happens to us?
Good question.
Because it's a really unique take.
It is.
Definitely something to think about
For sure.
as you're considering these different perspectives.
Absolutely.